The Heat won their 19th straight game last night, beating the Hawks 98-81. So now the emphasis is on this streak. 19 straight games. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? We asked you to weigh in on Twitter, and 53.8% say yes. It is a good thing.
Wow.
We welcome back to the desk. It's very tight. We welcome back to the desk, Morris Chestnut. Thank you for joining us. Hanging out for the rest of the way. Let's talk about the Heat. So is this a good thing or a bad thing? You know what, Stephen A., I'll start with you first.
I love it.
You do?
I think it's a good thing. I think that, you know, particularly when you're a champion, it's good to set new standards. If they hadn't won the championship last year, then it would be a bit different because you need to preoccupy yourself with getting that chip. That chip that was so elusive for LeBron James' career throughout the first 9 years of his career. But now that he's gotten that done and won another gold medal and was another league MVP, you know, won another league MVP award and all of this other stuff. You look at him, you look at the emerging health of Dwyane Wade, you look at Chris Bosh, what he can do. And then you see the contribution from others. Ray Allen balling, Shane Battier just shooting lights out from three-point range up until the last game or so. You look at the Birdman, Chris Anderson, and the activity he gives you on your front line.
Birdman a reference on our show?
Well, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. It's something beautiful about somebody that knows what their job description is. Your job.
Stay in your lane.
His job is to go out there, rebound, block shots whenever you can, defend, be active. And this dude does that in droves, Skip. Udonis Haslem, that should be his best friend. He's got some help. Chris Bosh, that should be his best friend. Chris Anderson is a tremendous pickup for the Miami Heat. So in light of that reality, and then you see Mario Chalmers stepping up, and then Norris Cole come off the bench and do what he does. They have a complete team. So in light of that, I'm looking at them and I'm saying it would be one thing if you're shooting for this because you're relying so heavily on LeBron. But when you can win when LeBron has 16 points or 13 points or whatever the case may be, and Dwyane Wade has 19, but Ray Allen does this and Mario Chalmers do that, why mess with it? Go for it. Just play your game and pay attention to it because you need to be enthused. Because the regular season, we all know that's just preliminaries for the playoffs for them. Go for it. And it's 33 games, 33-game winning streak by the Lakers, 1971-72 season. I believe if they're going to lose in this series, I'm talking this streak, Boston, Monday, this upcoming Monday in Boston, that's the game you got to watch out for with the Heat. Outside of that, I don't see, other than that, and San Antonio March 31st. Those are the two teams that stand out in my mind.
Will you be there next Monday night?
I will be there.
You'll be there?
He'll be there.
It's official.
Courtside.
Oh, boy.
Sweet.
The Heat might be in trouble.
The party don't start till I arrive. So it don't start. It don't start.
Well, the good thing about it is I think this streak is good for the Heat because it gives them something to focus on. You know, coming off the championship season, give them something to focus on, keep them motivated to try to win the ring again this year. Unfortunately, for them, they're not going to be the Lakers streak. Me being a Laker fan, it's going to be 33 in a row, and it's not going to happen.
You're not going to happen.
Hold on to whatever you think.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The Lakers are going to have that streak, and at the end of the season, it's still going to happen.
I think they're watching and listening to him right now. I think they might go for it even more.
Well,
I'm glad you said that.
Well, hey, if the Heat are depending upon me to stay motivated, then they have a problem.
Skip, before you go, let me just throw out these names. Philadelphia, this is the schedule, upcoming schedule.
Okay.
Streaks at what now, 19? Philly, Milwaukee, Toronto. Boston would be 23. Then you got Cleveland, Detroit, Charlotte. Then you got Orlando, Chicago, unless Derrick Rose comes back. New Orleans, too young. San Antonio.
Okay.
All right? Then after that, you got...
Count them down. What's San Antonio?
San Antonio, if the Celtics at 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, San Antonio will be 30.
Okay.
And then you got the Knicks, Bobcats, 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks. You got a shot with San Antonio or the Knicks.
Negative. You have Toronto in there. Toronto's playing a lot better since their trade. You still have Milwaukee in there. It's not a given that they're going to make it all the way to San Antonio.
So in other words, if I'm focused because I'm so close to this streak and I'm close to breaking the all-time NBA win streak record, and I'm going to let Toronto or Milwaukee stop me?
Well, how mentally fatiguing? It takes a lot of you to do that. How mentally fatiguing is it to continue that level of play?
But wouldn't you lose Boston first or Chicago or San Antonio?
Possibly.
Toronto
you went all the way down to San Antonio at number 30.
At number 30?
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay. It'll stop. It'll be Boston.
Morris, I got bad news.
Oh, no.
I think it's going to happen.
You think it's going to happen?
I do. And I'll tell you why. Brian Windhorst wrote a really good piece on ESPN.com
He usually
today.
does.
He always does. Has great insight into this team.
Yeah.
They are into this. This finally gave them, remember what I kept saying about, are we there yet?
Yeah.
That was sort of the subtitle of their year. Are we there yet?
Mm-hmm.
Because early in the streak, they had games at home against Sacramento and Philly and Orlando that were going into overtime, and it would go a couple overtimes against Sacramento, and they would almost lose, and they would barely pull it off at the end. Now, they have taken their defense up about 5 notches. Last night was a tour de force of defensive basketball against an Atlanta team. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. But they just dismantled it. Stephen A. 14 steals, 5 more by D Wade.
Suspect guard play.
Okay,
Go ahead.
but what I'm saying is, LeBron just kind of, the last couple of nights, he just goes along for the ride. I'll do a little bit here and a little bit there, but not, like you said, 16, 13. Off nights for him, doesn't matter. You brought up Toronto. They're 9-9 since they traded for Rudy Gay, which isn't great. They're 2-6 in their last 8, which isn't great. Now that's a trap game because that's a 1 o'clock Sunday game, like an odd time game ahead of this game at Boston.
Yeah,
I'm on record as saying in the postseason the biggest threat to the Heat is Boston because I love the defensive matchup because Jeff Green, Paul Pierce can bother LeBron. They can't stop LeBron, but they can bother him a little bit, and just that gutty sort of veteran toughness the Celtics have with Doc coaching, they can cause some problems for Miami. But if they get this rolling, I can see them rolling through Boston. I can definitely see them rolling through San Antonio. Once they start smelling 33, look out, because the rest of them, they'll just wipe up the court.
Boston will be the toughest one, too, because of that back-to-back in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you what's going to help them, and I think it's going to put them in a position where they could possibly beat Boston on Monday night. That game against Toronto, like you said, is a 1 o'clock game.
Yep.
Had it been Sunday night,
Yeah, that's a little different.
that would be different.
Yep.
The fact that it's Sunday during the day, okay, and you know football season's over, so you ain't preoccupied, upset that you're missing a football game, trying to rush out of there, all of that stuff. I think that helped them Monday night in Boston. But if they're going to lose, to me, it'll probably be in Boston or in San Antonio. I don't see anybody else getting in their way.
I'm going to limb Toronto.
You say
Okay.
Toronto.
It ends
All
in
right.
Toronto.
But
Well,
you guys,
no.
Skip and Stephen, they both agree that you don't think it's going to happen at all. You think they might do it. 33
I got a feeling.
I'm reserving judgment until Boston.
until Boston.
Until
But
Boston.
the pin in it until Boston. Well, while we know that the
You know what
Lakers
they did in Oklahoma
have the
City?
longest streak
They
ever,
don't make a statement.
Miami has had the longest streak ever by a defending champion. So
Is there
congratulations.
something
to them
wrong
on
with
that.
our video?
I don't know. You got